I don't have my mic on. I gotta get my mic on. Hang on, we'll be back. There you go. That should be better sound. As I was gonna say, we are gonna do some vlogging today, and I now have my mic. Actually, I was on the camera. I just didn't plug it in, so it needs to be plugged in. But before I get into my topic, which is going to be, I've got it titled right now. This is not the WordPress you're looking for, because WordPress doesn't seem like a place that I remember in so many ways. But before that, as always, I'm going to build some Lego. I need to build, I've got the NASA, Women of NASA setter. I forget what it's exactly called. And I'm just finished a book. Oh, let me get it. Oh, got too much junk in the way. Finish this book. And it talks about inventing. And so I want a photo of a female inventor, because that's one of the knocks on the book, is that there's not a female inventor really in it. It's all about men. And yeah. So I'm going to take a female inventor picture for the blog image of this. The podcast is going to get its regular one. I haven't talked about the podcast in a while. It's called Should I Read It? It's the first episode in a while. I'm hoping to do more, but we'll see. Video work takes up a lot of time. That's the problem. Lego building. Let's do that. All right, Lego's done. Time for food. And talking about the WordPress update stuff. I zoomed out all the way. There we go. Zoomed out all the way. So there has been a recent controversy, I suppose, around Jetpack now recommending itself in search. So if it has a feature on your site, oh, let's put this down. If you have Jetpack installed on your site, you can enjoy my messy house as well. So if you have Jetpack installed on your site, though, and you are looking for, say, backups, but you don't have backups turned on, it's going to automatically show right at the top, just like the other plugins, really, that it has this feature for you. And Jetpack or Automatic or whoever says that this is okay because they're just exposing functionality in a plugin that you currently have. They're not suggesting something you don't have installed. They're saying, you've got this. It's already on your site. You should just use it. Go for it. And there's a few problems with this. If you go to, and I'll link this in the description, if you go to WP Tavern, there's some discussion on this, and there's a lot of good points brought up, which I'm going to rehash and give you my thoughts on. So one of the really good points is that this seems to be in violation of the WordPress terms, which say basic stuff around don't put pop-ups, don't put banners up, don't put a bunch of stuff up for upgrade notices. That's not cool because it clutters up the site and that's not good. And so, yeah, that's been an issue, and I actually have another post I can link to on that from an old old thing, and on WP Tavern as well, actually. And one of the big issues there is that Otto, Samuel Woods, yeah, Otto. He works for Audrey Capital. Audrey Capital is owned by Matt Mullenweg, who owns the president, founder of Automatic, who runs Jetpack. So he owns both of these companies, employs basically both sides of this. And Otto is on the WordPress.org side, which is the open source software, and he gets to weigh in heavily, or gets to decide. I'm not 100% clear on whether this is okay or not. honestly seems like a big conflict of interest to me. And whether or not, I've never met at all. Like, we've traded comments back and forth on blog posts. That's all that I know about him. But whether or not he is going to, let's assume he is going to make a decision only from the WordPress.org side of things. Based on those rules, he will make the decision. It still doesn't look good if he's making the decision, especially if his decision says that it's okay. Whether or not it's okay according to the rules is a separate matter. If he says it's okay, and he works for Audrey Capital, that just makes it look funny. I think at the very least, he should recuse himself from this and say, hey, this person over here is going to make the decision, and that's it. I'm not going to make the decision at all. But at least at this point, that's not what's happened. Now, I didn't troll through every comment again today to see if things have changed exactly. This is my take as of yesterday. It is April 4th today. I'll probably publish this on an odd schedule, probably over the weekend. But at least recuse yourself. Like, at least say, I can't make this decision. There's a conflict of interest there. I'm employed by sort of the same thing, two different arms of the same thing. Same thing, same owner, same founder. Anyway, and I'm not going to make a decision on this because that just seems funny and it just feels icky. So the other reason this is a big issue, I think, is that Jetpack is installed by a number of hosts by default. It's just on your site. You don't have a choice in it. I mean, you don't have a choice in it. You can delete it, but it's already on your site. There's something called the tyranny of the default, which basically means that, like, I've got an iPhone here. It comes with Apple Music installed, so that means that I'm going to use Apple Music more likely than not, because anything else I've got to go reach for. So what this means in hosts for everyone who's not developers, who doesn't listen to the discussion with fascination because it's interesting, because they have a point, like a dog in this race. Everyone else, every user, my wife, my in-laws, anyone, my dad who has a site, they're all going to get their site from whatever their host is, and they're going to do what? Have Jetpack. In many cases, not all hosts, but in many cases, they'll have Jetpack. A lot of the big hosts have this. And then they're going to go search for plugins, and Jetpack's going to say, hey, look at me, do this, do my thing. The way it's set up now is it looks exactly like a plugin. It looks exactly like everything else. Right? We all complain when Google does something like that with the ads, where the ads are barely indistinguishable from your search results. And that's kind of how this feels. Now, I know Joost de Valk put in a pull request, a ticket to modify this so that it doesn't, so it looks different, like noticeably different, like, I forget what he says, like pre-installed features or something like that. But still, in both mockups, it took like, position 3 or 4 or 5, whatever it is, and it pushes them off screen. Because suddenly more screen real estate is taken up, right? Instead of your 2 plugins across the top, right, position 3 bumped down to position 4 in what way it works currently. In Yoast's, it would probably not be as much, but you'd take like position 1 and 2 or get their top priority, and then the other ones get like half, like they're going to see like half screen on a lot of stuff. And so you're still going to push other results down. And that's just going to mean that Jetpack will keep getting used more. Is that a bad thing? I don't know. Like, I know people on the Jetpack team, and they're good people, but this, again, it just feels gross. It feels icky. It doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel like the WordPress that I fell in love with. The WordPress that is letting me record a video at 11:43 on Thursday because I feel like it. So, because I have something to say. And WordPress has helped me build a business that lets me do this. So, after all this, I was already going to write about this, but then WooCommerce, which is also owned by Automatic. So this is like another branch of the same thing. So like branch 3, right? We have Audrey Capital, Matt owns, founded, I don't know. Automatic, he is the president, he's the founder, and then WooCommerce, owned by Automatic. So WooCommerce has basically said in a recent post, they're going to do what looks like the same thing. It's really vague on details. That's a problem with this one. That WooCommerce says, hey, we're going to show that there's other popular plugins. So Jetpack is like one plugin of plugins, really. Like, I mean, they say, people say, don't install too many plugins, but as soon as you install Jetpack, you installed like, whatever, 12 or 13. And yeah, some of them aren't on, but still, that's a huge code base. Anyways, for WooCommerce, they're going to recommend other plugins you don't have installed, but that are in the WooCommerce.com store. Which is good for the WooCommerce.com developers, but again, tyranny of the default. Some of my favorite WooCommerce plugins are not in the WooCommerce store. Fat Cat Apps makes some nice ones, and I'm blanking on all the other ones right now. But there are other plugins, other things that are great in WooCommerce that have nothing to do with being a WooCommerce.com store. And yeah, there's a plugin store. You can get into it, and I know like anyone who wants to try can get into it probably, right, within reason. But again, I think we're headed down a slippery slope. I think that this is a scary thing. And the more that I look at WordPress, the more it's starting to feel like Facebook. Like the next time I turn around, there's something else icky. The next time I turn around, there's something else that just, it feels wrong. Like, what? Really? You did it like that? Now, in principle, I don't actually have a problem with plugins like Jetpack recommending other things that they already have installed. That's fine. That's fine. I know that's fine, but okay, like if the community decided that, here's the thing. If the community decided that, if it was a core feature supported, if you could register, here's other features I have that people should install that should show up in search, that the community came up with a random algorithm for so that you could register, you know, there's 20 things that are registered for a certain thing, it randomly assigns them a position. Okay, I may not love it still, and I might turn it off for my customers, or I might, you know, I'd think harder about it, but at least it's a community endeavor. At this point, Jetpack said, hey, we're going to do this thing. And everyone else went, what? What? You're going to do what? At least all the people I've seen the only positive comment I've seen for it is Otto so far. I haven't seen any other people and this is nerds and developers, I haven't seen any other people in anywhere say this is great. In the chat forums that I'm involved in that are, you know, tight and small, like, you know, 10 or 15 people, WordPress developers for years that work for hosts, that work for Fortune 50 companies, that work for big media stuff, like they all go, what? This is crazy. I can't believe that. What? This is not the WordPress I know. I think that's the rub. Like, it keeps feeling like Facebook. I first felt like this way back in the capital P dang it days, which is it automatically capitalizes WordPress, the P in the middle, because that's how it should be spelled. And this got put in, Matt Mullenweg put it in, and Andrew Nason put it in. There's no pull request, there's no discussion, there's no nothing. Again, I don't care. Sure, put it in, don't put it in, makes no difference to me. It's the method with which it was put in. Gutenberg, in many ways, felt the same way, like it was just going to be rammed down our throat no matter what. Like, the whole accessibility team basically resigned and said, no, this is a bad idea. We're not ready. It's 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 not ready. And it still went out. And then, like 3 months later, it went out just before WordCamp US, and Matt announced it as the big feature. Like, it seems like it was tied to that. Like, just feels icky. Maybe he can say it wasn't, and let's believe him. It just feels icky still. And then we have this thing now where Jetpack says it, and Yoast is like, hey, I'll do this. And again, Yoast owns a popular plugin and is employed by Automatic, Under Capital, something like that. Like, he's paid to work on this open source stuff. So, and then next, like, it's just icky. And then WooCommerce says it. Again, more ick coming through. And it just makes me wonder, like, really? Is this the type of community I want to be involved with? I left Facebook a while ago because it was not the type of community that I wanted to be involved with. Because they, like, since I left, there's been like more passwords leaked, more this, more that, more dumb stuff they're doing, and it just keeps building. And I really feel that this is what WordPress is at right now. It just keeps building more stuff that it's not wrong, but it certainly doesn't feel right. That's all I gotta say. It's got legs. You got lots of time to do good work in WordPress and make a good living in it. But I am really starting to look for what's on the horizon, because I'm not convinced that the community as it stands right now, particularly from Automatic, from Audrey Capital, from like that side of things, is the place that I want to be involved. The place that I feel comfortable and confident being involved in. I think it's a place that I just don't feel comfortable anymore being involved in, where I look at it and just go, it doesn't feel wrong, or it doesn't feel right. But it certainly, or it doesn't feel wrong, but it certainly doesn't feel right.